So, just a basic rundown on all the different types of Gibsons you're going to see, at least Gibson Les Pauls, rather.
Yeah, I don't get it. I've looked at the models, you know, and it's hard to distinguish which one is which. The one up here I saw on the right, that this one here. I'd like to try that one. They call that a Studio, right?
Yeah, those
so,
are...
So take me down the Les Paul schooling here. Give me a class.
Yeah, so the Studios are kind of the mid-range, entry-level brand, Les Paul that you're going to be able to get. They have like all the bare-bone capabilities of how like a studio guitar, the things you're going to need to sound good, but it's not going to have the glitz and glamour of, let's say, a standard or a classic. They're just going to have basic modern tooling, so a modern bridge, modern tune-o-matic tuners. They're not going to have any of the push-pull pots, anything like that. Coil splitting is just going to be bare bones, Les Paul. Where you have a standard. This is a 50 standard in my hand right here. This is going to be a recreation of a 50 style Les Paul. So it's going to have the 50 style bridge. So you'll see that maybe a classic or a studio or even a standard have different tailpieces. That's because most of the time they're recreating a specific guitar or era of a guitar.
Okay, so when I was asking you about this one here, right?
Yes.
Before we started filming, right? I pointed out the two different bridges and the tail pieces. So talk to me about these two right here.
So when it comes to the two right here that you're seeing on screen, the classic has the modern tooling of what the Gibson tune-o-matic bridge would be. And the one to the right is a 60s style tune-o-matic. So it's a lot skinnier. It looks a lot more, I would say, I guess, not whimsy, but
you can see it
in comparison. You know,
if we take it up close, can you see it? Maybe if I take this angle and stop it for a little bit, maybe you can zoom in if you're a viewer and take a look at it, because I can see a little bit of the difference here. I pointed that out to you when I was in here waiting, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people when they're buying a Les Paul, they can't buy the 60s, actual vintage style guitar. So what Gibson does and a lot of these other brands like Fender, they reissue a lot of these style guitars with the same exact specifications of those guitars that you would be getting. So they're just recreating what you would find in a 50s standard or what you'd find in a 60s standard. So in a 50 standard, you're going to get a fatter neck with a wider jumbo frets. In a 70s/60s style Les Paul, mostly 60s, you're going to find closer frets, thinner neck.
I understand.
And then when it comes to the traditional pros, trad pros, those are pretty much the modern take of what Gibsons are going for. And the classics are a little somewhere in between a studio and a standard. It's the recreation of a specific guitar, but more or less a specific year, not necessarily a specific era, like the standard.
Yeah, because online I've seen 59, I've seen a 60 gold top or what have you, right?
Those are classics usually.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to standards, you're only going to get the 60s decade, the 50s decade. When it comes to, classics, you're going to get that specific 59 recreation, rather than a just generic 50s Les Paul.
Can you showcase? I'd like to hear that one and the other one I pointed out to you, but I'd like you to play it. Sometimes when out shopping for guitars, what I like to do is, take a step back, let somebody else play it. I know what I sound like, you know what I mean? But I like to hear the guitar of what it sounds like from somebody else playing it. So yeah. Let's change it up and let's plug them in.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the Les Paul, which one now?
Les Paul 50 Standard.
All right, tell me about it.
Real twangy sounding for a 50 Standard, in my opinion. It could be the coiling on the Strat, the pickups, they just remind me of a Strat. I mean, it's a humbucker.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't really sound like that, but, that's the thing. These are hand wound, and a lot of these times, whoever's making the pickup, maybe they wound it a little bit tighter that day, maybe they wound it a little less, so it just could sound a different multitude of different ways.
You know, that's what I've been finding out while I've been playing some. They don't feel the same. They sound a little different. The one behind you, that translucent cherry I tried, great, it's beautiful. Now tell me about this one and play something for me, and let's let the viewers, hear it as well. So hear these differences.
I mean, for me personally, this is the brightest sounding 50 Strat I've ever heard.
It does sound different. It does sound different than the other ones that I've heard you play, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the bridge pickup. So to make it a little bit more creamy, I'll just go straight neck pickup.
Okay.
See if I can find one.
So thanks, guys, for staying with me through these demos and reviews. Learned a lot today about the Les Paul models. So the search continues.